Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Morning for all. Could we start our discussion today?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, please, SMK6, prepare yourself. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Can you hear my voice? Are my audio stable? All right. We want to start our presentation now. Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Fine.
I'm grateful to hear that. So, first of all, let's praise our God, the most gracious, the most merciful. And we also thanks for educators and all participants who have given us chance to share stories about the culture in our city. And before we're going to storytelling, let me introduce my teammates. We are from Vocational High School 6 of Surakarta, Central Java. My name is Ratih Kusuma Putri as a host in this team. And she is Raissa Bernadine Putri as a presenter.
Hello, I'm Nadine as the presenter.
Then she is Prajna Paramitha Bintang Saraswati as a moderator in this team.
Hello everyone, I am Prajna as the moderator.
Well, we are here to share stories with theme local culture, so we will talk about the culture in our city. As I said before, we are from the city of Surakarta, Central Java, or Solo. The city of Surakarta is known for its various traditions and cultures. One of them is Kirab Satu Sura. What is Kirab Satu Sura? Have you heard it before? Not yet, no problem. And in the storytelling session, we want to share a short clip video of our city, of course, Surakarta. I know that you are getting curious about the Kirab Satu Sura, but don't worry, Nadine will explain in more detail about the Kirab Satu Sura for you. Well, Nadine, time is yours.
Well, Ratih, thank you for the time. But first, I will share the screen first. Please wait a minute. Hello, everyone. Can you see the screen we shared? Well, let me start the presentation. Solo is a city located in Central Java province. Solo is also known as Culture City because it is known as one of the core of Javanese culture. Traditionally, it is one of the development of Javanese tradition. With the slogan, Solo, the spirit of Java, the city is determined to maintain, preserve, and develop local culture. Solo is the center of historical, where it has many of the big and wonderful annual cultural festivals which are staged, tourist destinations, trading centers, and gastronomic tourism. It also makes crowds of visitors to the city each year. In fact, cultural festivals events include everything from religious events, music festivals, and fashion festivals can also make an influence to observe the tourism opportunity in Solo. And now we will show you some local cultures. Something that is most awaited by the local visitors and foreign visitors is the Solo Cultural Festivals. As you can see in the screen, these are the most existed festivals in Solo. There are like Sekatan, Ratih Carnival, Grebek Maulud, Grebek Sudiro, Jenang Festival, and the one that we'll share today is Kirab Satu Sura. And now we will show you the video about Solo City. Well guys, as you can see, this is our city Solo or Surakarta. We have some local cultures that are show, or we call it as wayang, and also gamelan as our traditional instruments. As you can see, there are many of tourism objects in Solo. And also you can see the cultural festivals like that Ratih Carnival. So related to our presentation today, this is the illustration about Kirab procession. There are many buffaloes, and are you curious about why are they many buffaloes there? I'll explain it later. So this is the Kusuma palace where the Kirab takes place, and it is the Kirab procession that followed by the royal families and the palace courtiers. Well, thank you for watching the video, and we will enter the presentation. So, as you can see, the title is Preserving Kirab Sura as Javanese Local Culture. Here are some pictures of Kirab Sura tradition. As you can see, there are so many buffaloes there. So, we'll start the introduction. Kirab Malam Satu Sura is a ceremony held to celebrate the Javanese calendar New Year. This ceremony takes place at the Royal Palace of Surakarta and Paramangkunegaran. Under the Kirab's origins, the Kirab Pusaka or Kirab Satu Sura is another major event in Solo and a tradition of the Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta, which is presented annually at the beginning of the Javanese month of Sura, which can fall in either March, April, or May. Better known to tourists as the Solo Heirloom Procession or Malam Satu Sura, the Kirab Pusaka, which dates as far back as 1633, features colorful processions and starts from the Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta along the main streets of the city of Solo. And usually it is started at midnight until finish. Do you know what is special about Kirab Satu Sura procession? If you want to know, please keep focused on our presentation because you can find other festivals and processions like this in another region. Well, so what is the specialty about Kirab Satu Sura procession? As you can see before, there are so many buffaloes. It begins with a row of Caucasian buffaloes, or we commonly call it as kebo bule, as a cucuk lampah or opening accompaniment. For Surakarta residents, they believe that the buffaloes are descendants of Kebo Bule Kyai Slamet who are considered sacred. And then, things that we should prepare for Kirab are, as I mentioned before, there are some of Kebo Bule, and then flowers, heirloom, and also sesajen. Kirab tradition is used as a means for contemplation and introspection of various things that have happened during this year. The designation of Satu Suro as Javanese New Year was carried out since the time of Sultan Agung Hanyokoro Kusuma. The Sultan also set Satu Suro as a sign of the Javanese New Year. So, how is the Kirab Satu Suro processions? Kirab procession started with the palace courtiers, or we call it as Abdi Dalam, who overpraise and spread the sajen in front of Kori Kamdanungan that are done along with waiting the arrival of Kebo Bule. Do you know why are they waiting for the Kebo Bule? Well, this is the next step of the procession. They are waiting for the Kebo Bule because the Kebo Bule will walk out of the cage by itself and no one can force them to get out of the cage. After the Kebo Bule start walking out, the king and his descendants, also the courtiers, neatly lined up behind the Kebo Bule. Thus, residents will follow the procession behind the royal families with holiness and solemnity. Maybe you are curious of why are they doing this tradition? This tradition carried out by the palace because it has positive values, such as safety and peace. Kirab contains a meaning that can be interpreted philosophically, namely balance and harmony between the world and humans, and human efforts to realize a peaceful and safe life, which is carried out based on divine attributes. So how is the Kirab tradition during this pandemic? Because we're impossible to make crowds in these circumstances, right? This year, the Satu Suro celebration falls on August 10, 2021, but the national holiday was shifted to August 11, 2021. And also due to the pandemic, Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta and Pura Mangkunegaran didn't hold the Satu Suro celebration, but the traditional ceremonies are still carried out internally. We hope all visitors can come to our city, Surakarta, to prove by yourself if Kirab Satu Suro is the most unique festivals ever, and you cannot find any other festivals like this in another place. That's all from our presentation. I give the time to our moderator.
Well, thank you, Nadine, for your excellent presentation. Hello, everyone. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
All right. Now, we enter the Q&A session or discussion session. For the first session, I will give 3 questionnaires to ask our presenter. But don't worry, if you don't have the question, you still can be participated by giving us a suggestion or comments. If there anyone of you want to ask, please raise your hand and mention your question, suggestions, or comments. But don't forget to mention your name and where you're from too. Thank you. Now, let's get started the first session. First questioner, please raise your hand. First questioner, please.
Yes, thank you.
Please raise your hand before you mention your question. Please raise your hand before you mention your question.
My name is Maknoon. I'm from SMK Pd. My question is, why is football Caucasian color a symbol of power that is practically used for agriculture?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Why is Purple Caucasian colored a symbol of power that is practically used for agriculture?
Sorry, can you speak slowly because I can hear your voice clearly?
Before answer corner, where is before satu Sura corner, where is the kebun? I'm sorry. Before satu Sura comes, where is the kebun?
All right. Thank you for the question. Nice question. But I will keep your question for now. Our team will answer the question after we get the 3 questions. Thank you. So the next question, please. All right. So the second questioner is from SMK Nurul Huda. Please mention your question. Okay, your presentation great, but I want to ask you, is the treatment of buffalo in the place the same as caring for buffalo in general? All right, thank you for the question. Next question. So the last question for the session, please raise your hand. All right. So the last questioner is from SMK Tenas Harapan. Please mention your question.
Hello, my name is Nilam Alfarski and I'm from Vocational High School Tenas Harapan. I will ask to your team. What will you do with the kepo bule when Kirab satu Sura?
All right, thank you for the question. Well, because there are already 3 questions, I think it's enough for now, and I will give the time to our presenter to answer the question. Nadine, time is yours.
Well, thank you for the time. I will try to answer, but give me a minute to answer the question. Thank you. Well, I will answer the first question from SMK Islam Sangatahida. Thank you for asking. Your question is where before the Kirab come, where is the Kebo Bule? Is it true? Okay. Yes, before the Kirab come, the Kebo is in the cage, and the cage is located in Alun-Alun Kidul, Surakarta. Is it enough to answer your questions?
Yes.
Thank you for asking. I will try to answer the second questions from SMK Nurul Huda Ngawen. So your question is there any different of treatment for the Kebo in the palace and in the general? Is it true?
Yes.
Yes, there is because overall the treatment is the same, nothing special, but in the Kebo in the palace is more sacred because it is the descendants of ancestors in the past. Is it enough?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for asking. I will try to answer the third question from SMK Tunas Harapan Pati. So your question is, what will you do with the Kebo Bule? Is it true?
Yes.
Well, the residents of Surakarta usually take the feces of the Kebo Bule because they believe that the feces of the Kebo Bule gives them blessings, or we call it as berkah. Is it enough for answer your questions? Thank you for asking.
All right. Now we go to the second session. I'll give 3 questioners to ask our presenter again. So please, the first questioner, please raise your hand before you mention the question.
Hello everyone.
Okay, the first questioner is from SMK Tunas Harapan. Please mention your question. Go on.
My name is S.Pd from SMK Tunas Harapan. I will your title of presentation is period of Japan. You say that this tradition and you know that Java is one only Central Java. Can you explain about it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat again your question? Because I can hear your voice clearly.
Your title of presentation is period of Central Java. I'm sorry, spirit of Java. Say that this tradition is of Java. But you know that Java is not only Central Java. Can you explain about it?
So you mean is the differences of the Kirab Satu Sura in Central Java in my city, right?
No.
Oh, please, can you repeat again your question slowly?
Your title of presentation is Spirit of Java.
Yeah.
You said that this tradition is of Java, but you know that Java is not only Central Java. Can you explain about it?
Oh. All right, thank you for the question. Next question. So next, the second questioner, please raise your hand first. All right, the second questioner is from SMK Nurul Huda. Please mention your question slowly and clearly.
Why is the Buffalo Carnival only held on the night of one Sura?
All right, thank you for the question. Next, the last questioner, please raise your hand. All right, the last questioner is from SMK Islam Samroto Huda. Please mention your question.
My question is, why is Kabobule very scared?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Why is Kabobule very secret?
All right, thank you for asking. So I will give the time back to our presenter to answer the question. Nadine, time is yours.
Thank you, Anna, for the time. I will try to answer all of your questions, but give me some minutes to answer it. Thank you. Well, we'll try to answer all of your questions. First, the questions is from SMK Sarapan Pati. So your questions is, can you explain about the slogan, the spirit of Java? Because the Java is not only Central Java. Is it true? Well, Solo is a center of cultures and many historical places in Solo, like Radio Pustaka Museum, and we have two palaces in Solo. There are Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta and also the Mangkunegaran Palace. And we also have batik, that is one of the Javanese heritage. We can find many motif or pattern of batik Solo. And also, Solo reflects the beauty and majesty of the city of Solo, which has a lot of cultural and artistic heritage, and also means Solo as the center of Javanese culture. Why? As we've heard before from my presentation, that Solo, which is the center of government of Mataram Kingdom in the past. Solo have, as I mentioned before, Solo have two palaces, is Kasunanan Surakarta Palace and also Mangkunegaran Palace. Solo also have many historical places and tourism objects like Vastenburg Fort, and after independence, this fort was used as a tiny headquarters to defend independence. So, is it enough to answer your question? The point is because Solo is the center of culture. Is it satisfied your questions?
What about Yogyakarta? What about Yogyakarta?
Oh, what about Yogyakarta? I'm sorry, but Yogyakarta is not a part of Central Java. It is a different province.
But it's still in Java.
I'm sorry, can you repeat again?
But Yogyakarta in island Java. In Java.
Well, about Yogyakarta, I cannot explain more because Yogyakarta is not the part of Central Java. So I just want to share you about the special of Solo. Solo is the center of the culture that makes it different from other region. Is it enough?
It is better. Your title is Spirit of Central Java, not East Java. Not Spirit of Java. Because Java is island Java, not Central Java.
explain? Well, I will explain it once more. So the slogan is Solo is spirit of Java, not Solo is the spirit of Central Java. And about Yogyakarta itself is not a part of a Central Java. It stand alone. It stand itself as a province, and Yogyakarta and Central Java is different. And what makes Solo different is because Solo is the center of cultural heritage in Java. Is it enough?
Alright, I will add my friend question. So what my friend means is what my friend talking about is your title is Spirit of Java, right?
Yes.
So it means Jogja is a part of Java, right?
Yes. Yes.
So if you just explain Solo is part of Central Java, you must change your title to be Spirit of Central Java, not Spirit of Java, because Jogja is part of Java. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So this is what my friend is saying.
Well, I'm so sorry. You may saw the title of our presentation, Solo, the Spirit of Java. Actually, it's not a title. It's a slogan from our city, Solo. So Solo has the slogan. Its slogan is Solo, the Spirit of Java, because the slogan is related to historical reason, and Jogja is not a part of the Central Java. Maybe my teammates can add my answer for satisfy your questions.
So the slogan is Solo is the spirit of Java. The spirit of Java is true, not a spirit of Central Java. It's just a slogan from our city, not the title of our presentation today. Thank you. I hope our answer is satisfied for your question.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I will answer the second questions from SMK Nurul Huda. Why is the Kebubule is only at night? Is it true? Only at one night. Only at one night of Satu Suro. Is it true?
Yes.
Well, thank you for asking. I will answer the questions because the Kebubule itself represent the Kirab Satu Suro tradition, and why it came only at night because the kebobule itself is as a cucuk lampah or opening accompaniment. So it is the opening of the Kirab Satu Sura tradition, which is presented at midnight. Is it enough to answer your questions?
Yes.
Yes, thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. I will try to answer the third question from SMK Islam Samratulo Buddha. So your question is, why is the kebobule sacred? Is it true?
Yes.
Yes. So there are many. There is philosophy why the buffaloes join the festival of Kirab Satu Sura, because the buffaloes are the important part of the Javanese traditional customs. Buffaloes are related to our daily life, such as be a transportation and also pulling the barn. Not only that, buffaloes also have symbolic meaning for some ancestors of the palace. Buffalo is interpreted as a symbol of safety, and the Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta made the Caucasian buffaloes or kebobule as opening accompaniment to convey the hope of salvation symbolized by the buffalo. Is it enough to answer your questions? Well, thank you for asking. I give the time back to our moderator.
All right, I think it's enough for the Q&A session. So I will close the Q&A session or discussion session today. Now I will give the conclusions from our presentation today. We know that the Kirab Satu Sura is one of our local culture from Solo and also a tradition from Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta. The Kirab Satu Sura is held annually at the first date of Javanese month of Sura. Started at midnight until finished and led by a row of caucasians of buffalo, or we call it kebobule, at the midnight until finished from Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta along the main street of Solo. And some people believe the Kirab Satu Sura and the kebobule is sacred because they believe it can give them blessings and security from the unwanted events. In short, the Kirab Satu Sura and its rituals are symbolic expressions of social realities in Solo at that time, and also can be used as an alternative for the economic development of the community around the Kasunanan Palace of Surakarta. That's it. Thank you for all of your participation. Thank you, Nadine, for sharing. And for the next turn, I will give the time back to our host. Ratih, time is yours.
Well, thanks, Anna, for the time. Well, we over our presentation now, and thanks for all participants and educators for the nice attention. And we hope that you all enjoy and take the benefit from our presentation. Well, that's all. See you for the next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Okay, Ibu.